Hey guys, welcome back to Math Quest. All right, so you want to learn how to write a recursive rule for an arithmetic sequence. Not a problem, you're in the right place. All right, so right now I'm going to basically write a simple sequence because I don't want you to get caught up in the sequence itself, but more pay attention to the actual rule, right? The recursive rule. So right now, actually, why don't we do this? Let's go ahead and write our recursive rule in standard form would be f of n equals f of n minus 1 plus d. All right, make sure you copy this down because this is the standard form of the recursive rule in standard form. That's what it is. So once we know that, we find the values that we need to find and just plug them in, really. So I'll show you how to get them. So let's get a basic sequence here. Let's start 10, 15, 20, 25, and so forth. Can you guess what this is increasing by? Absolutely. This is increasing by 5, right? The previous term is increasing by 5. So that means if I take my first term and add 5, I'll get my second term. I will take my second term and add 5, and then I'll get my third term. The reason I have to take the previous term, that's why it's called recursive, right? This is repetitive by taking the previous term. So in order to be able to write a recursive rule, you need two things. The first one is they must give you f of 1, right? So in this case, we know that f of 1 is equal to 10. F of 1 has a value of 10. That's the first thing you must know. The second thing I need to know is the common difference. That I need to find on my own. And as we found it is 5. So my common difference represented by D is 5. So there I have my first term with the value of 10 and then the common difference, which is 5. So great, let's plug these values in. So we got our formula right up here, n minus 1. N represents the term. By the way, people, I don't want you to get caught up in f of n and so forth. It just means the function of n. Well, what does that actually mean? Well, let's think back when we first started learning algebra. That's just my x value. Those are my inputs. Right here, the 10, 15, 20, and 25, those are my outputs. Therefore, they would be my y values, right? So that's all they mean. So in essence, really, in reality, this is all this is. This first term would be f of 1. The second term would be f of 2. This one would be f of 3, and so forth, right? That's all that is. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and plug in some values. Let's say that we wanted to find f of 2. That means I want to find the value of my second term, right? Right now, I obviously have my value, but I'm just going to plug it in to test this recursive rule out. So we're going to have f of n minus 1, which would be the 2 minus 1 plus the common difference. Now, that 2 minus 1, that 2 means my second term, right? I plug that in for n, f of n, the second term. Now, that gives me a value of 3. This is what throws people off right here. Excuse me, that doesn't give me a value of 3. It gives me a value of 1. So this becomes 1. But remember, this was the function of 1 plus 5. I need the value of the function of 1. Well, I'll go back to function of 1 and the value is 10. So therefore I plug in 10 as a value, add it to my common difference, and then I'll find the value for f of 2, 15. And as you can see up here, f of 2 is 15. So this is really what throws people off right here. Most people will do 2 minus 1 equals 1, and they'll do 1 plus 5. That's the common mistake there. Please note that, not to make that common mistake. So what it's looking for is the value of that function. Okay? So again, repetitive here, but let's do f of 3. And that would be the function of 3 minus 1 plus 5. So the function of 2 plus 5. So let's stop right here. What does this mean? That means that to find the value of the third input of my my function of 3, my f of n, to find that value, I must plug in the value of my f of 2, my function of 2, my second input. That's what I need to put in, the value. And if we go back to our value here was 15, same as down here. So now we input 15 plus 5, and that gives us 20. And now I can confirm that for f of 3, right, my third input has a value of 20. And as you can see right here, it does add up. All right, that's all you have to know to be able to write a recursive rule. All right, let's go ahead. You should have taken notes. So let me give you a sequence right here. Let's do, oh, this is a colorful one. 3, 6, 9, 12, and so forth. Okay, go ahead and write the recursive rule in standard form, plug in your values, and see if you can write the recursive rule. Go and pause the video and get started. I'm assuming you paused it. Now you're back to see the answer. Once again, my rule in standard form would be f. Oh, that looks like an E. That's a terrible F. All right. I know I'm nitpicky. I know. F still looks the same. F of n equals f of n minus 1 plus d. So let's find d. Notice it's increasing here by plus 5. What am I doing? I'm still stuck on the last one, plus 5. All right, plus 3, that's what I meant, but everybody knew that. Plus 3. So it's increasing by 3. So now I know what that common difference is. So common difference right here would be 3. Now, let's go ahead and plug this in. So let's say I want to find the second one. So, oh, and my f of 1, don't forget the f of 1, of course. The value of the f of 1 is also 3. Okay, as you can see right here, f of 1. So let's find f of 2, see if it works. F of 2, that would be f of 2 minus 1 plus the common difference, which happens to be 3. So as we solve this, we're looking for the value of the function of 1 plus 3. The value for the function of 1, f of 1, is 3. Therefore, we have 3 plus 3, which ultimately equals 6. As you can see, f of 2 will equal 6. And right here, you can see that it is true. It's that easy. And I hope I made it easy for you. And if you got value out of this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. And I'll see you next time on Math Quiz. Goodbye.